Hey there, John Gibson here, and welcome to Bod-e-Volv TV and FatLossEvolution.com. Today I've got an interview for you with Heather. Heather joined the Bod-e-Volv coaching program back in April and saw an amazing transformation. And really for her, the biggest transformation was her mindset. You see, Heather went through a lot of struggles, and in her past, she's dealt with a lot of things. To be honest, I think a lot of us will be horrified by the things that she's gone through. But very early on in the Bod-e-Volv coaching program, I share a lesson about perfection and how we can't achieve that. And that lesson had a huge, profound effect on Heather. And I remember from that lesson on, she was a completely different person, and I could see change every day in her. But even during the Bod-e-Volv coaching program, she went through a lot of struggles, but she was able to work through those. I mean, some of these things included her falling off a 13-foot zip line and landing on her head, multiple ER visits with her kids, and it just seemed like at least once a week there was some sort of a major problem going on that they had to deal with. But the awesome thing is that she was able to persevere through that. She was able to find ways to overcome those challenges. And in this video, we talk about those things. How she was able to overcome falling on her head and still pushing through and doing the things that she needed to. I don't want to keep you waiting any long, so let's get into that interview. So I guess tell me a little bit about what life was like before. Give me some history and what led up to you joining Bod-e-Volv.
Okay, so I guess before well, as you know, I'm a mom of 5, so I was a mom and that was my identity. That's what I did all day long. I didn't really set any time aside by myself. And then right before I joined Bod-e-Volv, I had kind of changed my ways and gotten involved with Advocare and had done that 24-day challenge. And that had kind of changed my eating ways because I have an addictive personality. I like sugars, like those things just addict me really fast. Diet Pepsi was really bad for me. I drink that more than water, and that was life. I cared about everybody, and I did not put any time aside for myself. Even with Advocare, like I hadn't made that change yet. The mental was what changed with your program.
And I see that's a common thing, especially with women, is I'm taking care of everyone else. Who cares about taking care of myself? Or I don't have time to take care of myself. But I'm glad that that's changed for you.
Me too. And people give you that excuse too. If you notice that, oh, you have 5 kids, it's okay. You're not expected to look, oh, you look okay for having 5 kids. Well, I don't want to look okay for having 5 kids. I want to look good because I look good and I take care of myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's awesome. So you said you did Advocare before, and that got you started on kind of the nutrition habit change, and you actually saw some pretty good results before you started the program. But what do you feel like was the biggest turning point for you during the Bod-e-Volv program?
Your lesson on killing perfection, without a doubt. Like, I sat and cried, and I listened to it like 3 times because it hit it on the nail, like so much for me that I was striving to be perfect, like this perfect person, because I had, as you know, such a rough past, and I was slammed all the time when I was a kid. I always was striving for that acceptance of people, for people to think that I had it together and that I was, perfect. But that lesson changed my life. It changed my life. I still go back and listen to that lesson when I'm getting behind, because it's not a perfect thing. Like, this isn't like, oh, you're going to do this for 6 months, you're going to look like a supermodel and it's going to be over. It's totally just, I live your program. I don't just, I still do. I mean, I slip and I go up and down, but I'm still striving to be the best Heather,
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that that's going to happen. You should expect to go up and down. But that's cool. I mean, what about that lesson was it?
Honestly, I remember when you were talking about how back in the day when they had no teeth, you were lucky if you were alive after all your kids. And for me, with my children, I would have died almost with every single one of my children because they were NICU babies. My gallbladder exploded on one of them, basically. I had such traumatic birth experiences. I was like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have even been alive. And then you went on to the teeth, and I had braces for 6 years, so that hit home. I know, that's weird. So you're just going through all these little statistical facts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't be living my life. I wouldn't see my kids. And then the whole other aspect of the literal meaning, but the perfection is, oh my gosh, I'm trying to be good for other people. I'm not trying to be good for myself. So that was the part that got me. I really liked your elephant lesson too, with the chains and how we build our own chains. And that's so true. I loved all your lessons, but those were the two favorites.
Thank you. And the one thing that impressed me about you during the entire program is you ran into a lot of obstacles, and there were a lot of people that also ran into obstacles. But the way that you tackled them was a little bit differently. I mean, take for example your zip line experience, um, where you basically, I mean, how far did you fall?
Oh, it was like 13 feet, like
About
straight on my face.
So about 13 feet, and you landed on your face. And I remember you you still wanted to push through it, but you needed some help. I mean, you had a lot of things that you were running into. How did you keep going?
I had that goal. I wanted to be different. And you were a big part of that because whenever I talked to you, you never put me down. You never said, oh, well, that was dumb. Why did you do that? I did that enough myself, but you were always like, oh, that's so awesome. You want to keep going. You want to keep doing it. And that like motivated me even further to keep going because I didn't want to, number one, disappoint myself, number two, disappoint you. And then I had all these ladies that I had become friends with, and I didn't want to disappoint them. And it was like the perfect support circle. So that was it. And I'm a pretty stubborn person, if you haven't picked that up yet. Pretty
No,
stubborn.
yeah, you pushed pretty hard through stuff. You did a really good job. I'm excited by the progress you made. So what do you feel like? Okay, so you made some awesome progress. You were able to push through things, but what do you feel like other women are doing? Because okay, we're coming to New Year's resolution time.
Yeah.
Um, so everyone's making these resolutions, but the thing is most people are going to fail. It's in the past histories, every year, most people fail at their resolutions. But what is it that most women are doing that makes it so they don't succeed at their weight loss goals?
Oh, I have a good one for this. I think it's deadlines. I think that we give ourselves, oh, I want to look good by this certain points or fit into these jeans by this certain date. And when we don't achieve that, we get discouraged and walk away until, the next year's resolution. Or, and it goes back into your lesson of being perfect. We have,
Hmm.
oh, I want to have the perfect workout, the perfect everything. And when it doesn't go perfectly, we get mad and we leave. Another thing that helped me is the vision boards. I taped a whole bunch of pictures of me not just being in shape, but having a really good time with my kids and being able to do it. There's a picture that I tried to post on the Facebook page of me going up these stairs at Red Rock in Colorado. And I had a baby strapped to the front of me, and I was carrying another child. And I went all the way up there just to find out there was an elevator later. But the biggest thing is I made it. I was in shape enough that I could take two kids and climb like 5,000 steps up there and be fine. And so that was one of my big goals was to know, oh, I could do that if I needed to.
Here's what I'm hearing. Most people, when they set a goal, they're setting a number goal.
Uh-huh.
But when you set a goal, it was more of a lifestyle. It was, I don't just want to look this way, but I want to be able to do certain things, hike two kids up a mountain, or, I mean, everything you guys do. You guys are doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It's awesome.
Yes, we do crazy stuff. And that's like our lifestyle, living in Alaska. That's a lot of what we do is outside we run, we hike, we climb mountains, we fish. Like in the summer, that's all we do is fish because it helps us get through the winter. So I realize that's a little different from us than other people, but I mean, even in Idaho, when we lived in Rexburg, my husband and I went hunting. Okay, I went hunting once. I hated it. But I could go hunting. That was the thing. I could hike up and down those mountains really fast and quick with them. And I couldn't do that, when I got to be bigger and unhealthy. So,
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. So, one thing I'm seeing with this is that, like you were saying, is that we're setting our deadlines. We have a specific deadline. We have to lose 50 pounds by this deadline or we failed. And one thing that I was trying to help you see and a lot of other people see is, hey, if you only lost 30 pounds by your deadline, that's awesome. You did
Right.
awesome with that. But I see a lot of people who they give up because it's like, well, it's not perfect. It's not right where I want it to be. So I think it's cool that you've learned that during this program that perfection is
Yeah.
not part of the program.
Oh, I see it with my friends. I had a friend, she lost 50 pounds, 50 pounds, and she's gained it all back. She wanted to go on a vacation to Las Vegas, and now it's all back because it was that deadline. I think that's huge with girls. Knock it off. Sorry.
You've got a family. That's awesome. But you know what's funny about that is the reason why I set this program up the way I do is because there was once where I was training this guy who was getting ready for his wedding. So I think he had a 3-month deadline. We gave him a specific meal plan, specific workout program. It was really intense, really hard for him to do for 3 months. He reached his goal, lost the weight he wanted to lose. I saw him at his reception. He looked great, sent him on his way. About a year later, he called me up and he says, John, I got to come back. I need your help again. I gained some weight back. He lost 50 pounds getting ready for his wedding. He gained 80 back over the rest of that year. When he came in and I saw him right away, I was like, okay, I've got to do stuff completely different. And that's exactly why I set everything up the way I have. It's kind of because of his, I don't want to call it failure, but because I wasn't able to help him the way I wanted to.
That's cool. Well, I think that's dead on with girls, even more so than boys, for sure.
No, I'll agree with that, yeah. So, how do you feel like your life has changed since you've done the Bod-e-Volv program?
Oh, it's the way I look at myself is the biggest change. I mean, you remember one of my first posts is I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw this failure. I saw this victim. I saw this person who'd been beat down over and over again. And your videos throughout the time period, it changed me completely. It helped me to see myself as a warrior and that I was okay to do things for myself. Like almost giving me permission to like myself,
Hmm.
giving me that permission to take an hour or two a day and just, focus on myself, whether that be working out or whether that just be like meditating. The meditation was huge for me, especially with my son when we found the lump and all that drama. That was scary and the meditation got me through a lot. Um, and then it's changed my whole life as far as eating. I just am in the habit now. People look at me and they're like, "Oh, you like fish oil straight? That's disgusting." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's tasty. I like it."
You're like,
But
that's just what I do now.
exactly, it's not. You never like put this horrendous thing in front of us and said, "All right, now you got to do it forever." You just put these little tiny baby steps, which are so doable to do. And if you just keep going as you lay it out, it becomes a habit and you don't even think about it anymore. So if I look back to where I started and where I ended, I'm just like, holy cow. I mean, you put all these things and implemented all these things that I would have never done if you would have said, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. You're going to drink fish oil and you're going to have these vegetable filled breakfasts. And, I bet most of the ladies would have been like, yeah, that's nice. See you later. I'll stick with my cereal, you know?
Yeah, well, you need to be careful what you share because I don't want to scare people away right now.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. No, it's good because it made it good. I mean, there's a lot of things I would have never thought that were good, and I love them now. Like, I love having vegetables and eggs and my super shakes. Like, I do it all the time, and I love it. And I've had friends and family who have started doing it because of me being an example. So it sounds scary, but it's not scary at all. It's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. I love that. And for you, like throughout the entire program, the theme for you was to be a warrior because you did have to fight through more things that some other people did. There were a few people in the group who, honestly, I didn't hear one thing from them the entire time. They saw good results. I was happy with their progress, but I didn't have to do a lot with them because they didn't run into a lot of struggles. So, I mean, that's not that their experience was better or worse than yours. They just had a different experience. But yours, I mean, you had the issue with your son where, I mean, did you guys find out what that was? Was that just a
It was just a horrendous infection that had got into his lymph node. It was bad stuff. And then it just kind of traveled into his body, and he's my son with the sensory issues, so his body reacts differently anyways, long story short, it got taken care of, but it was really scary along the way.
I mean, you had that, and I remember it's like almost every day on the forum was, oh, my kid almost cut their finger off, or I just slipped off a zip line on my face, and I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I think I got a concussion or something else going on, or I mean, all these different things. But for you, you always fought through them. And that's one thing that really inspired me about you. And I wanted to be honest, like half the time I would read through your posts or after we'd get off the phone and stuff, and I was motivated. I was excited to go do stuff. So you were definitely an inspiration to me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Especially coming from you.
So here's another question for you. There's a lot of people who are watching this who will probably be wanting to or thinking about signing up for the Bod-e-Volv coaching program. What would you say to them to help them make their decision?
Do it. Jump in. I mean, what do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose. Knowledge is power, and the Bod-e-Volv has provided me with more knowledge than I ever thought possible. And I have researched nutrition till the end because of my son. But John, you taught me things that I had no clue about. And they were things that changed my life forever and changed the way I do things forever. Not just for 6 months or a year. It's forever. It's a change.
That's awesome. Thank you. The Bod-e-Volv transformation program is currently closed, but you're in luck. We're getting really close to opening the doors again for this life-changing program for a new group of women. Are you going to be one of the next success stories? That decision is entirely up to you, but I'm here to help you out. Just enter your email below and I'll let you know when the next Bod-e-Volv transformation program starts. Thanks for watching. This is John Gibson and I'm out.